you know, being the best you can be in that profession. And specifically, if it is entertainment, you really have to work on your craft. If you're a writer, you know, you really have to work on your craft so that your scripts.
Hi, Daylin.
Hi,
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
No problem. You're very
Yes,
welcome.
I'm so sad that Queen of the South is gonna end now, season 5. Right?
Yeah,
Oh my.
yeah. You and many
Yeah.
fans are very sad.
I know that. And when I start watching like season 1 in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, it's so good, and kept going. Unfortunately, it's gonna end. But anyway,
Yeah.
what was like you wrote some episodes. You was executive producer as well in some of the seasons. But what was about this story, the Teresa's story, that they want you to be part of?
A couple things. One is that we see these cartel stories a lot, and usually we see them from the point of view of men, and the women in those stories tend to be victims, collateral damage, you know, the girlfriend, the abused wife, you know, they don't seem to have a lot of agency or power in those stories. So I just think it was really fascinating to turn that genre on its head and see that story told from the point of view of somebody who would be la mora, you know, like the girlfriend of Güero, right? And that person going from being a victim to a survivor to a boss. It's something we've never really seen before. And I think it's a very satisfying and appealing story for a lot of women that sometimes Latina women feel very disempowered. And I think it was so fascinating to explore that. And also I think it's a classic immigrant story. It's a very classic American immigrant story. If you look at movies like The Godfather, for example, there are a lot of similarities to her journey as a character and you know, Vito Corleone and Michael to an extent, you know. So I think they're familiar stories. It was just interesting to tell it from a different point of view.
Yeah, I think it's great in the way the character evolves, and I think Alice Braga, she did a really good job doing it. I don't know, I'm a huge fan of hers. I'm also Brazilian.
As am I.
I'm also Brazilian, so I think she's great. But what was about her that made this her so perfect to play Teresa?
Well, I didn't cast the pilot, so I wasn't in the show for the first season. So I'm just very thankful they did cast her because I think she was a fan of the book. And so when she came onto the project, she had a very strong idea of what Teresa Mendoza, what that character is, and the trajectory of that character. And I think what makes her, I think that she plays that character with so much empathy because she doesn't judge the character at all. She doesn't judge the character's behavior or her actions. So she plays her with this purity of heart that I think really comes across on screen. Even when she's making these very difficult decisions that are not very popular, and she's making quite a few more this season that a lot of people are really happy about. But at the end of the day, she tries to keep her humanity the best that she can. But it's interesting to watch her. She's so multi-layered in her performance that you really see how she's struggling with these changes that she knows she has to make to be able to move forward in this business and in this world. And there's just so much quiet intensity in her. She's tremendously talented, and we're so lucky to have her play this part.
Me too. I'm really, really sad that it's gonna end on season 5, but not just because it's a good series, it's also because we have she's a female Latina in the main is a main character. She's the protagonist, and we don't see that every day.
No, it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. She is the only Latina protagonist on American television right now. It's unfortunate. I hope that's going to change, but I don't know.
We see some change, but I think it's not enough. But like we see the Oscars, we have 2 female directors being nominated. One of them won, which is great. We have that. There is a lot of, I think, opportunities for Latinas behind the cameras and also in front of the cameras. But I think we still have a way to go. But what do you think that we as Latinas, what we should do to change that, in your opinion?
I get asked this question a lot. I don't know what we can do, because I think a lot of it is like a systemic problem in Hollywood. That is something that sort of has to be internally remedied in Hollywood. A lot of it has to do with who's in charge that buys these shows, and who's in charge that programs the networks. And but I think for us as viewers is to just show up and have our voice heard and let them know that we're watching, because at the end of the day, it's ratings. That's the bread and butter, right? So they have to know that they have eyes watching these shows. So we have to be vocal that these are the kinds of protagonists we want to watch and the kind of shows that we want to watch, so that the buyers are more inclined to buy the material. But a lot of it is stuff we can't change. It's just, I feel like the Latino community has to start showing up more for Latino material that comes on television. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think like when we have this discussion, people, we need to show up for the Asians. We need to show up for the African Americans. We also need to show up to us as well.
Yeah.
And I think if you support each other, maybe it'll be easier. I don't know, but I think we should change that. And
I agree.
Yeah. And talking about season 5, what we can expect, like, I know you cannot say too much, but what we can expect of the remaining of the episodes that are still to be aired.
A lot of surprises, a lot of shocking moments, things that people are not going to expect. And I think without giving away too much, we're really going to see a major change in Teresa's character. That is, I don't think it's unexpected, but that's pretty much all I can say without giving out any spoilers.
Okay. And that's okay. Let's change. So, in all the seasons that you work with as a producer, as a writer, what was what was like the biggest challenge that you have?
Yeah, the biggest challenge I had was to, because I didn't start as the executive producer, showrunner of the show. I came on second season as the co-executive producer, as sort of what in TV you call the number 2 under Natalie Chaidez, who stayed on for 2 seasons. So the biggest challenge for me is when she decided she didn't want to do season 4. My biggest challenge was to step into the role of the executive producer role of the show and sort of take over with Ben Lobato the creative direction of the show. I mean, that was the most challenging thing, is making that shift from into being the boss of the show, basically. And it's interesting because like there's a parallel. It's like as Teresa's becoming La Jefa, I'm becoming La Jefa. So I was sort of living her experience a little bit as I was writing her, and learning how to like delegate the way she was delegating. And that sort of, I feel like we were having the same journey, except I wasn't selling cocaine.
Amazing. Yeah, life imitates art.
Yeah.
All art imitates life. I don't know.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Amazing. Yeah. I love that. You see, it's sometimes it happens.
It does.
And,
yeah.
And after like the show is gonna end, and do you have already anything that you wanna create? Anything that you have?
Yeah, everything is. I'm just right now. I'm going out to pitch an adaptation of a book. But nothing is, I don't have anything sort of set in stone yet. I'm still figuring out what's next after Queen, and just right now focusing on finishing up the season finale. And but I'm sure something will be around the corner.
Are you more towards like TV or film? Do you want to write a movie?
Oh, I'm totally interested in film, but I've focused most of my career in television because it's just what I'm comfortable with and familiar with. And yeah, hey, if you know anybody that wants me to write their movie.
Yeah, of course. Another thing is like that I think is very interesting with the stream services. I think open up another like place for us to shine.
Very much so. Yeah.
What do you think about this just change that you have like Netflix, we have Amazon, Paramount Plus, and all of them?
I think the most important thing in those streaming services, because they do like Netflix especially has a lot of Spanish language stuff, but most of it is either specific to Mexico or South America or Spain. And we actually need programming that is about Latinos, like Latino Americans, in America. So that's the thing that needs to be cracked in all these streaming services, is how do we tell those stories? Because I do feel like we have a lot of Spanish stories, and or that is of countries where people speak Spanish, but and Portuguese, because there's a lot of Brazilian stuff also on Netflix. But it's about, hopefully the next shift is how do we shift into developing these stories that are specific about Latinos that live in the United States.
Which is great. There is this show in Netflix, Gentify, which is, I love that show as well.
It's great.
So
it's great.
It's great. Yes. And then I think that touched a little bit when years ago we had East Los High. Also touch a little bit East LA, and I think it's great. But I love the idea to have a Brazilian show for the Brazilians that live here, because they're totally different from the ones that live in California, different from the ones that live in Florida, and the ones that live in New Jersey. All different. It's so super cute. Well, one day we get there. But now I just enjoy the Spanish ones. The Spanish language ones. That's awesome. And Daylin, for us to wrap it up, do you have like kind of advice to give to young ladies, young Latinas, or even young boys that want to pursue a career? Doesn't need to be entertainment, any career.
Oh, any career. I mean, I think the biggest advice I have is to really focus on, being the best you can be in that profession. And specifically, if it is entertainment, you really have to work on your craft. If you're a writer, you really have to work on your craft so that your scripts are in good shape if you want people to respond to them. For other careers, I think it's like the biggest thing I think for Latinos is that you can't give up. It's hard, and every career is hard, but so my biggest advice is to persevere and keep at it, and keep knocking on doors and keep trying to make connections. We underestimate networking and what we can do for each other in our communities, and I feel like we should help each other more and uplift each other more, and I feel like that's happening more and more in our community. So I always like reach out to people around you, and the days of like you know, Latinos being like, I don't want to help you. I think that might be gone. You know,
Yeah.
I'm hoping it is. So that my biggest advice is to keep at it. That's my biggest piece of advice.
That's awesome. Wow, Daylin, you know, I just want to thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to talk to you, a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
And just let us know on your next project, because I'll be waiting for that.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Obrigada.
De nada. Thank you so much. Oh my God, okay. So good. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. If you like this video, don't forget to comment, to like, and subscribe to our channel right here.